Saturday, April 22nd, 2023, started like any other day for 46-year-old Martin Hale, just a dad trying to keep his four kids, ages 7, 9, 11, and 14, from demolishing an entire birthday cake. The plan sounded harmless, a family trip to his niece's party at the Kong Adventure Center in Kzwick, England. But by nightfall, what began as a carefree outing would twist into a nightmare. Martin trapped deep underground, his body contorted in crushing darkness, as rescuers scrambled against the clock to pull him back from the brink. The Kong Adventure Center looked disarmingly innocent, a kaleidoscope of bright banners, laughter echoing off padded walls, climbing holds peppered like candy dots, rope bridges swaying with excited feet, and an artificial cave system tucked behind fiberglass rock. To every parent in the lobby, it screamed foolproof fun, a climate-controlled wilderness where kids could play at being explorers without a hint of danger. But beneath the cheery glow of fluorescent lights, the cave's dragon-mouth entrance gaped wider than it should have, humming faintly as if swallowing sound. Martin, a physics lecturer who couldn't help seeing hidden forces behind everyday things, wasn't built to just stand and wave from the sidelines. He had a restless streak, a need to test every boundary himself, and today it pulled him down on all fours after his kids, crawling straight into that glowing throat of fiberglass stone. What was sold as a safe, family-friendly labyrinth felt oddly alive, its stale, recycled air tinged with something metallic, its painted walls seeming to close in as he ventured deeper. Inside, the tunnels twisted and turned unpredictably. There were no maps, no safety diagrams, just the dim cones of light from their headlamps. The fiberglass walls scraped against Martin's arms as he crawled deeper, his breath echoing strangely in the close air. The kids scampered through easily, but Martin had to press himself flat to keep moving. Still, he joked about needing to suck in his gut, keeping the mood light, unaware of the danger building around him. Then the tunnel narrowed further. Martin couldn't raise his head, couldn't turn around, and could barely slide his arms forward. He saw what looked like a bend or opening up ahead and kept pushing on, but instead of opening into a larger space, the tunnel dead-ended. A ripple of raw panic tore through him, sharp and electric. The space was far too tight to turn around, every inch pressing like a vice. His only chance, he thought with a surge of desperation, was to curl into a ball and somehow flip himself to face the other direction. He drew his knees up, vertebrae creaking, but the moment he folded forward, his body seized in place, ribs crushing his diaphragm, chin jammed brutally against his chest. A hot spike of terror shot through him as he realized he was wedged like a cork. No leverage, no air, no mercy from the tunnel. His breath came in shallow, rasping gasps, each inhale weaker than the last. The slick fiberglass walls felt alive, as if mocking him, offering nothing to push against, nothing to save him. His pulse pounded in his ears like war drums, drowning out every rational thought, leaving only the primal certainty that this narrow tomb wanted him. "Help! Somebody get help!" His voice cracked in the darkness. The children scrambled to find staff. Martin tried to stay calm, telling himself this was a child's play area. Someone could just open a hatch and pull him out, but there were no emergency exits in the tunnels, no access hatches, no way to reach him except crawling through the same narrow passages. Employees wriggled in with flashlights, their beams slicing through the jagged darkness, tugging desperately at Martin's arms and legs, but he was wedged so mercilessly tight that the stone itself seemed to have swallowed him. Every breath drove his ribcage deeper against unyielding limestone, his own body crushing his organs from within. He could feel his pulse stuttering, blood flow strangled by the pressure, a cold numbness creeping into his fingers and toes as his circulation shut down. Sweat streamed down his face, blinding his eyes, mingling with the dust until it stung like acid. The beam of his headlamp trembled wildly with each shallow gasp, reflecting his growing panic. Martin tried to summon his usual easy humor, muttering cracked jokes meant to soothe his terrified kids waiting above, but his voice quavered, hollow and brittle, the words crumbling before they left his lips. Each attempt at laughter felt like an echo from a man already halfway buried, as the suffocating silence of the cave pressed in, and every second stretched into a slow, choking eternity. What Martin didn't know, 6 years earlier, another man, Robert Ellis, had nearly been trapped in the same tunnel. He escaped only by painstakingly crawling backward. His wife posted warnings online, but the center made no changes. No warning signs, no maps, no safety exits. Hours dragged on with a sickening slowness, each minute grinding like a stone wheel against Martin's fraying nerves. Rescuers flooded in, fire crews, paramedics, the Cambria Mines Rescue Unit, Kzwick Mountain Rescue, over 50 people swarming the site, their voices sharp and urgent, their tools screaming as they cut through concrete and steel. Sparks rained in violent bursts, lighting up the cramped center like a war zone. Every clang and vibration rattled through the fiberglass tube, making Martin flinch and choke back shallow gasps inside, his face drained to ghostly white, lips cracking, turning a dangerous shade of blue. His chest heaved with frantic, shallow breaths, the air growing foul and stale. Panic clawed at him like an animal trapped in his ribs. His fingers trembled uncontrollably, nails scraping against slick fiberglass. The darkness pressed heavier, the tube closing in tighter with every heartbeat. He could almost hear it breathing back at him. The weight of earth above seemed to crush his skull, grinding his thoughts to dust. Martin whispered to himself, hoarse and broken, "Stay awake. They're coming. Don't let go." But even his own voice sounded alien, warped by fear, like it belonged to someone else fading away. The edges of his vision pulsed black, time distorted into something nightmarish. Every second stretched thin and sharp, every distant drill whine a reminder that help was close, but maybe not close enough. After more than 4 excruciating hours, rescuers finally carved through the packed earth and splintered timbers. The moment they broke through, a suffocating stench of damp clay and sweat rushed out. Inside, Martin lay wedged in a nightmarish fetal knot, his body twisted so unnaturally that even veteran rescuers recoiled. His face was pale blue, lips cracked, eyes half open but unfocused, each shallow breath rattling in his chest. Panic still lingered in the air, the echo of his muffled cries, long since faded to silence. They hauled him out with trembling hands, but his limbs hung limp, blood having been forced away by the crushing pressure. In the ambulance, medics fought desperately to restart what nature was already abandoning. His pulse fluttered like a dying bird. He clung to life for a few more brutal hours, then slipped into a coma as his organs failed one by one. 8 days of machines and whispered prayers followed, but nothing could undo the catastrophic damage. Martin Hale, devoted father of 4, a man who had simply wanted to explore, died of massive internal crush injuries, leaving behind a family shattered by grief and rescuers haunted by the image of his last moments underground. The tragedy raised furious questions. How could a family play center have no warnings, no safety exits, despite previous close calls? How could a man lose his life in a tunnel built for children? The Hale family demanded answers, and what they uncovered was far worse than a simple oversight. Internal emails revealed that staff had raised concerns months earlier about blocked crawlways and faulty ventilation. Management dismissed them as overblown fears, citing the cost of renovations. Local inspectors, under pressure to keep the center open during peak season, signed off without a full review. Parents had filed informal complaints after minor scares, but they were brushed aside. The truth was damning. This was not an unpredictable freak accident, but a disaster waiting to happen. The danger was known, the warnings ignored, safety protocols were non-existent, evacuation plans were a joke, and emergency lighting didn't even function. And in the middle of this negligence stood one man, a father who went into a tunnel to rescue his terrified daughter and never came back out. His death was more than personal tragedy. It was proof of a systemic failure, a chilling reminder of how profit often outweighs human life when no one is watching. This was no random mishap. It was negligence, sharpened into a weapon by years of inaction, a design flaw left to fester until it transformed the cave into a steel trap. This wasn't just carelessness, it was a death sentence written long before the victim ever entered, proof that human error and apathy can turn stone and darkness into deliberate murder.